In MotionTwin, the trajectory control feature allows for precise path creation that characters will follow during motion generation. What we can do is develop a small little example here, and what we'll do is create a trajectory where a character turns the corner from the background into the foreground here, and then runs across, or let's say jogs across this area, and then turns into this alleyway here. So let's pull that together with the trajectory control feature. So the first thing that we want to do is bring up our motion generation dialog window and select trajectory control. There are several fields here. There is a prompt field, which is optional, but I'm just going to plug in a prompt. A person is jogging. That's really the effect that I desire, is the jogging. And the walking style, I'm going to leave to forward. There's also backwards and sideways right, strafing to the right, and sideways left, strafing to the left. And what we have here is the trajectory field. And you just press plus here. And a trajectory level sequence is actually created, as you can see here right away. And the skeletal mesh actor is created, skeletal mesh actor 0. And let's move this to the side and bring our skeletal mesh actor into view, because when you first create it, it is created at world origin. So we want to reset the first key that's created inside of the sequencer for this character where we want the sequence to start. So let's just move that character into place. There we go. Let's rotate the character 90 degrees. Excellent. And reset the transform there. Perfect. There we got the key set. And what we want to do now is, this will help us as well, is reset the ending key. Let's bring over our character from closer to us, and then it'll be easier to create that trajectory. There we go. And there we go. Let's just bring the character around and spin them to another 90 degrees and just set the transform there. Excellent. So now we have that spline. As you can see, we have the beginning and the ending of the spline there. And we could actually now move that spline ending here, maybe a little further in. Let's move the character backwards. Whoa, across. That's something that we could demonstrate here. Yeah, there's that movement. But what we want to do now is, okay, so we have this ending spline here. There we go. What we want to do is we want the character, and this will happen naturally. Let's just turn the corner and create the turn of the corner. It's a little smooth here. There we go. And wait, we got to move this first. Let's just create a couple of points along the way here. That seems like a nice clean turn. Maybe it needs to be a little wider, but let's just also set some speed and timing with the blocking here. There we go. There we go. Now we want to just maybe see him picking up some speed. Actually, let's move this over here. Let's move this over here. Let's grab that here. There we go. The spline's caught up. Oh boy, it's just a little bit off the ground now. Let's not worry about that too much. Let's just try and get a good turn in here. So what we want to do is just move this forward a little bit there. And now we want to do there. And now we want to do kind of maybe a dash forward, all the way forward there. That's a tight turn. Are they behind the wall completely here so we don't see them? No, they're not. So let's just let's move that a little further down. Just get the spline key there a little further in. Excellent. I think we have a decent corner built. Our spline is looking pretty good. Let's see our character. Just tested it first. There's our character coming through. There we go. There we go. Looks pretty smooth. Excellent. Okay, great. Back to the motion generation window. Let's select a Mixamo mesh for this example. And let's select the target IK right Mixamo. So just to demonstrate that this tool does work with Mixamo, you do a little bit of retargeting. And let's select generate. Okay, let's give this a shot. Let's bring back our motion generation window, and then let's give it another shot. Maybe change the seat a little bit. A person is jogging. Why don't we just put in jogging? And let's generate an animation. Now it was queued, and you saw it change to running there. Let's give it a few more moments. And we can see that we have, let's just save our sequencer here. We have a new motion trajectory. This is the more recent one here. There we go. We've got a nice jog around the corner. There we go. Whoa. A little bit something there on turning the corner, like a fun little dance thing. So I'm not going to lose it because it's a bit of a performance, and I like it. But let's fit that into the scene now. Okay, excellent. Let's take a look at what the scene looks like with our friend here. There we go. There we go. There we go. And around the corner. There we go. Actually, that works really great because it just comes up against the pole. And you could see he's just noticing it and continues running and around the corner. And the run is pretty decent. It's funny. So I'm going to give it that. And I think there's a lot of usable footage here. Now that we have added a trajectory animation using MotionTwin, let's demonstrate blending animations inside of Sequencer. And what we'll do is we'll blend a MotionTwin generated animation with a Mixamo animation. So here what we have is we have the actor or animation running around the corner, 2 corners at that. So let's just take a quick look at that animation if we press play here. And the character turns around the corner. And what we'll do here is we'll just change the animation a bit so they stop here and do a kick. So in order to do that, what we'll do is we'll create a level sequence, cinematics, level sequence. I'm going to open that up. And our actor is, which is our animation that we generated, is already selected. So I'm just going to save the sequence, hit plus track, actor to sequence, and with our motion trajectory actor already selected, that drops the actor in there, but we'll see that the animation doesn't come in. So we need to do that manually. Let's hit plus sign beside animation inside of the sequencer. Let's find the animation that we just generated, which is the 129.14.08.54. There we go. And there's the animation. So let's just extend the end of the video just and take a look at it here. There we go. And then follows through and turns the corner. Great. So what we're going to do is we're going to play with this ending here. And instead of them turning the corner, we're going to have them do a kick. So it's easy peasy to do that. Just select the plus sign beside animation, and I will select kicking no mirror, which is an animation that I prepared from Mixamo. I'm just going to move it right up against our MotionTwin generated animation and just select it and blend it into the MotionTwin generated trajectory animation. What you also need to do is create a reference to the previous clip. And we do that by right-clicking on the animation that we brought in and selecting match with this bone in previous clip. And I select hips normally. And then you can see here that we're almost there. Takes a step towards moving in and then does the back kick. So what we want to do is blend it in a little bit more so they don't get to the turn. Let's see what happens when we do that. We can afford a little bit more, so that looks better. Let's see that. There we go. There's a little bit of a push back there, but you could find that sweet spot by fooling around with this here. Actually, let's bring this out a bit there. That doesn't look that good because of that play there. Why don't we just bring it back then? There we go. I think, no. Let's move it in even more. There we go. I think we got it. There we go. So you have to fool around with it a little bit, but it happens. Let's move the end of the video here. And I think we've got a good blend. Let's play the entire sequence from the beginning. That looks great.